Sawadee ka, Lori here from Chiang Mai, Thailand. What if we could use our most difficult situations to actually help us evolve, to actually help us ground more, to actually help us get more freedom in our life, instead of just feeling like we want to give up everything. We lose inspiration, we lose motivation, and we even begin to wonder what we're doing to begin with. When we do practices like yoga and meditation and TRE and other things that actually help us ground our nervous systems and helps us bring peace and helps us bring a more quiet mind, that's great. But what we forget is that this is actually maintenance. The true moments of actual evolution are the moments that all of this meditation and yoga and other practices are actually helping prepare us for. So that in the moment we can actually see what's going on, acknowledge what's going on. If it's got us that upset, it's because it's bringing up something, it's mirroring something, it's doing it for a reason, it's coming up for a reason. Everything is here to help us. And so if we can recognize in those moments that what is happening is just part of our personal identity. It's like a mind attack. It's all the stories, the beliefs that are part of our personal identity that we believe are so real. We're so attached to our image. We're so attached to, our success, whatever that means for each one of us, the way it's supposed to be. We get so attached to that. But in fact, whatever brought us here is actually guiding us. Life is happening all the time, but we're so tied to our personal identities of who we're supposed to be versus just follow our guts, that what starts to happen is that we just get disappointed all the time. And so whenever something comes up, instead of using it as a real moment to move through it, we actually let it really discourage us. And so if we, in our times of meditation, TRE, and all these practices that we do, we are actually cluing in to how we are not these thoughts, these situations, these expected outcomes, our identity, our dreams, our desires, our past, our cultural identity. We are not these things. These are things that we experience here, but we are much, much bigger than that. And so if we can stay in that place of observing all of these things while we're having these anxiety attacks or really emotional moments, real discouragement, real disappointment, then we're going to observe it, we're going to witness it, we're going to acknowledge it, and what we're going to do is we're going to transcend it. That's why these moments come about to begin with. If everything was always really comfortable in our lives, then we would never be forced into a better way of thinking, into a more peaceful way of being, because we'd be so comfortable. Everything is here to help us, and the more that we can believe that and accept that and live from that place, the more that when these situations come up, we can witness them and observe them. And when we do that, we transcend that. We then become more grounded, more peaceful, more happy, more free than we were before, because this is no longer as deep in us. Because we've acknowledged it versus go in for the ride for God knows how long, sometimes an hour, sometimes a day, sometimes a year, sometimes a lifetime we can stay in there, depending how serious what's happened has been. Meditation, TRE, all of our practices, those are wonderful. We need those, but what we forget is that they are maintenance. They are not the key times or moments where we can actually transcend. It can happen for sure, but then we're kind of searching for that to happen. Instead, if we do our practices and enjoy life and just forget about it and trust that when these situations come on, we're going to know what to do. We're going to know that we can just observe it and let it pass through, although it's still difficult. then we know that we can just enjoy ourselves more, because we'll be ready. We can trust that we'll be ready when these situations come on. And then the best part is we can stop waiting. If we continue to do meditation, TRE, grounding, exercise, all these things that we do with a means to an end, then we're going to be caught in waiting all our lives. Instead, we can use them for maintenance, enjoy our lives now. It's all here now. And trust that when these really awful moments come about, we'll be able to witness them and go through them and see the results after that. A great example is whenever we go into a type of freeze state, our nervous system protects us. And it actually puts us into what's called dissociated or a freeze state, for example. So let's say I'm in a situation where somebody says something I completely don't agree with, and it's hurting me. And I know I want to speak up, and I want to speak to really let people know how I feel. But instead, my nervous system disconnects me a little bit because it's too much to feel the emotions that are coming up. And my nervous system wants to protect me. And so it puts me in that type of dissociation freeze, kind of like a shutdown. And I can't speak. I can't say what I know I need to say. And so in a situation like that, I could then come home from wherever I was where that happened. I could beat myself up, feel disempowered, which is only going to keep me in the same cycle and not actually move into a more free space within myself to enjoy my life more. Instead, now I'm going to be resentful because I saw myself in that situation and I was shut down and I didn't speak up. So instead, if I come home, and even during the situation, even better, that I'm actually observing this, that I'm acknowledging it. These nervous system patterns, they've been with us since we were children. Our nervous system is now firing neurons in such a way automatically. It's like a freeway that the second that we find ourselves in a situation where we don't feel safe, it's going to that place. And so if instead we can just watch ourselves go to that place, which takes time, but doing a practice like TRE and meditation and different things to really help ourselves separate ourselves from our situations, from who we are, rather than get into them, it really creates the space to be able to do what I'm talking about. So instead, to acknowledge, okay, my nervous system has had to do that in the past. My neurons now fire in that direction to shut me down and I can't speak up. I know that the reason why my nervous system did that was actually to protect me. It has served me very well. But I know now that I'm more grounded, I have more space within me, that I can actually watch this and acknowledge it. And next time what's going to happen when you're in that situation again, you're going to have more awareness. And you might still not be able to speak up. Then the personal identity voice is going to come on. What's wrong with you? You know better. You understand this now. Why did you still do this? This lovely critical voice we have. So now that we know this, we can actually tell ourselves and talk to ourselves and actually encourage ourselves to know that, okay, but I had more awareness this time. And this is not like a light switch where I can just shut it off now that I know this. It takes time. And next thing you know, you go through it a few more times maybe, and you're actually able to speak up. Wow, that is true evolution. That is how we free ourselves. If we don't start to become aware of these patterns, and actually just keep meditating and hoping something is going to happen in that space and doing these other practices, then we're missing out and we're actually going to stay in a bit of a pattern, a cycle, where we're not going to move through and transcend it. I hope this was helpful. See you soon. Have a great rest of the week. Sawadee ka.